Good evening, anomalies. Yeah, I'm calling you that on purpose. Because if you're here, if these words even touch you, then you already know you're not normal. You're not average. You're not built for the cute little life template they hand out in school with a smile and a dead stare. You set off a protocol designed for only 3 broken geniuses. Read that again in your head. Let it sting. Let it echo. Because you've felt it your whole life, haven't you? That off feeling. Like something in you is either wrong or way too right for the world you got dropped into. You sit in rooms full of people and feel more alone than if the room was empty. You listen to conversations and think, how are they okay with this? How is everyone just fine? You look at your own reflection and see somebody who knows too much, feels too much, thinks too much about everything, and the world told you that makes you broken. So let's start there. They didn't tell you this part. There are some minds that don't just wake up. They break open. You're one of them. You didn't just grow up. You cracked. You glitched. You slipped through the cracks of normal life and saw what was hiding underneath. You saw the hypocrisy. You saw the lies. You saw how most people are not living, just numbing themselves with distractions, scrolling, fake smiles, fake goals, fake friendships. And instead of going, yeah, okay, I'll play along, something in you snapped and whispered, no, I can't do this, I can't pretend. That whisper, that was the protocol starting. See, there's a version of reality built for the masses, the 9 to 5, shut up, be grateful, don't think too hard, follow the script, die quietly edition. But then, there's a hidden layer, a layer for the ones who just cannot stay asleep. No matter how many times they're told to chill out, calm down, be realistic, lower their standards, stop overthinking. You're too sensitive, you're too intense, you're too much. You've heard all of that, haven't you? Too much, too intense, too dramatic, too deep. And every time you heard it, you felt that mix of rage and heartbreak in your chest. Because deep down, you know, no, I'm not too much. I'm exactly as much as I'm supposed to be. You're just not built for it. That's what a broken genius is. Not some math prodigy on a whiteboard. Not some movie stereotype with messy hair and a chalkboard full of formulas. A broken genius is a soul that sees the world in painfully high resolution. A mind that can't unsee what it's seen. A heart that still cares, even after everybody stepped on it. You. Let's talk about that word, though. Broken. You were not gently cracked like glass. You were shattered by betrayal, by neglect, by being the strong one for everyone and the forgotten one when you needed someone, by watching people choose comfort over you, by trying to be good, loyal, loving, only to be treated like you were disposable. Life didn't just tap you, it slammed you into walls. People you would have died for disappeared. People you trusted with your soul twisted the knife. People who said, I'm here for you, were only there when it was easy to be there. So you learned to stop expecting rescue. You learned to stop waiting for someone to understand. You learned to carry the weight alone, and every time a piece of you broke, your mind got sharper. Your emotional radar got more precise. Your tolerance for bullshit went from high to 0. That's the protocol. It doesn't activate in comfort. It activates in ruin. You think it's an accident you can read people's energy in seconds. You think it's random that you see patterns in everything. Relationships, society, systems, people's motives. You think it's normal that your brain won't let you sit still in a fake life without screaming at you from the inside. No. That's the cost of being one of the 3 broken geniuses this protocol was built for. Most people get broken and stay broken. They turn their pain into excuses. They turn their heartbreak into bitterness. They turn their potential into a graveyard of what-ifs. You turned your pain into questions. Why am I like this? Why do I see things like this? Why can't I just be okay with being average? Why does my mind keep pushing me, even when I'm exhausted? Because the protocol is still running. Let me say this straight. You didn't just hit rock bottom. You were dragged through it, stitched to it, and then expected to smile like it never happened. You've held tears in at work, in school, on buses, in your bedroom at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling like, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel everything so much deeper than everybody else? You've had days where you felt so misunderstood it physically hurt. You've had nights where your chest felt heavy, like grief, but you couldn't even explain what you were grieving. You've watched people laugh and move on while you're still sitting there replaying every detail, analyzing, overthinking, trying to understand what the hell just happened. That overthinking, that sensitivity, that refusal to just let it go without learning from it. It's not weakness. It's not you being dramatic. It's data processing at a level most people will never reach. The protocol designed for broken geniuses doesn't let pain go to waste. It forces you to squeeze meaning out of every wound. You need to hear this. The reason you feel so out of place is because you are. You weren't built for shallow conversations and small ambitions. You weren't built to gossip your life away and call that connection. You weren't designed to chase purely status, clout, aesthetics, and pretend that's fulfillment. You came here wired for depth, depth of thought, depth of love, depth of purpose, depth of rage at how broken everything is. You are not meant to fit into the room. You're meant to rewrite the terms of what the room even is. But here's the catch. Being that person hurts. You will be misunderstood. You will be judged. You'll be blamed for seeing clearly in a world that loves being blind. And the easy option is to shut yourself down, numb yourself, act dumb, lower your standards, pretend you don't care. You've tried that, haven't you? You tried to not care. You tried to be chill. You tried to go along, be low maintenance, be less intense, less deep, less real. And it almost killed something inside you. Because every time you pretend to be smaller, something inside you screams, this isn't me. This isn't what I'm here for. So here's the ugly, raw truth. You setting off that protocol, it means there's no going back. You can't unknow what you know. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unfeel what you've felt. You have 2 paths now. 1, use your brokenness as proof you're damaged goods and let life drag you into quiet resignation. 2, or accept that the very things that shattered you also upgraded you into something almost nobody around you will understand. That's your choice, but don't lie to yourself and say you don't have one. Look at your life. Really look. All those times you were humiliatingly honest. All those times you cared more than the other person. All those times you showed up for people who wouldn't cross the street for you. You thought it meant you were weak, naive, stupid. No. It means your capacity for loyalty, love, and intensity is terrifying. To small-minded people, that kind of intensity looks insane. To users and manipulators, that kind of depth is something to exploit or run from. to numb people. You look like a walking, talking mirror, exposing how dead they are inside. So of course they made you feel wrong for it. Because if you ever realized what that intensity could do when aimed at yourself, your work, your mission, you would become unrecognizable. And that's exactly what this protocol is pushing you toward. Let's talk practicality for a second, because this isn't just poetic talk. Your sensitivity, that's pattern detection. Your overthinking, that's deep analysis. Your emotional pain, that's raw fuel. Your isolation, that's high-focus training ground. You're being shaped into someone who can sit in discomfort longer than most people can stand, see through lies in relationships, social media, systems, understand what people are truly feeling, not just what they say. Connect dots others don't even notice exist. That's not random. That's a toolkit. What kind of mind do you think breaks systems, creates movements, flips industries, writes things that rip people open, builds things that change lives? Not the "I just want to be comfortable" mind. It's the mind that has seen hell and still wakes up with something burning in their chest that says, "No, I'm not done yet." You may not see it like this yet, but listen closely. Every moment you thought you were too much actually meant you were more. More capacity, more range, more vision, more conscience. Every time someone told you to calm down, what they meant was, "You're making me feel things I'd rather not feel." Every time someone ghosted you, breadcrumbed you, played with your emotions, what they taught you was, not everyone is meant to hold someone like you. Your love, your mind, your standards are not for the faint-hearted. Every time life slammed you with another loss, another disappointment, another betrayal, what it was doing was building a level of resilience where, eventually, you stop begging to be chosen, and you start choosing yourself. That's stage 2 of the protocol. The moment you stop asking, "Why doesn't anyone see my value?" and you start asking, "What could happen if I stopped waiting for them to see it and started acting like I already know it?" You have to own something right now. You are not equal to the people who gave up on themselves years ago. You are not on the same timeline as people whose biggest ambition is to be comfortable and liked. You are not meant to live a life that can be summed up as, "They didn't rock the boat." Your mind would eat you alive if you tried to live like that. You're built for impact. You're built for disruption. You're built to go so deep into your craft, your purpose, your self-mastery, that people either hate you or worship you, but they cannot ignore you. And that requires a certain level of broken, because people who've never been broken don't take real risks. People who've never had their hearts shattered don't love that hard. People who've never been abandoned don't know how to stand on their own. You do. You've already survived what you thought would kill you. You've already lived through the worst days of your life, multiple times, and you're still here. Not by accident, not by luck, by design. I want you to think about your lowest moment, the one you never talk about, the one that changed you, the night you broke, the day everything collapsed. Now ask yourself this honestly. Did you come out of that the same person? No. You came out cold in some ways, sharper in others. You stopped tolerating certain behaviors. You started seeing red flags earlier. You stopped explaining your pain to people committed to misunderstanding you. That shift, that was an upgrade. The protocol doesn't protect you from breaking. It makes sure that when you do, you come back with new code. You don't repeat cycles. You decode them. You don't just move on. You meta-analyze and rebuild your standards. That's genius, not the classroom kind, the survival kind, the world-changing kind. You've always had that feeling, haven't you? That deep, almost disturbing sense that you're meant for something bigger, and you hate yourself a little for even thinking it, because it sounds arrogant. So you downplay it. You laugh it off. You pretend you're just like everyone else. But late at night, when you're alone with your thoughts, it hits. I can't die like this. I can't leave this world without doing something that actually matters. That voice, that's not delusion. That's your system pinging you. Protocol running. Get up. You're not done. You don't crave fame. You crave impact. You want to see the people who hurt like you healed. You want to see systems that broke you exposed. You want to see other outsiders empowered. You are not hungry for attention. You are hungry for meaning. So here's the brutal honesty you probably never got from anyone. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to randomly show up and say, I understand every part of your soul, and I'll walk this whole path with you. Nobody's going to hand you the life you're built for. But also, nobody can stop you once you decide you're done waiting. You've already built tolerance for pain. You've already carried yourself through storms alone. You've already sat in darkness that would break most people permanently. Do you understand what that means? You're not starting from zero. You're starting from hell, with receipts. So when it's time to build the business, write the book, start the channel, change your body, leave the dead environment, cut the dead friendships. You're not building as some naive child. You're building as someone who has seen the worst and decided, fine, then I'll become worse than the worst, in discipline, in focus, in refusal to quit. Not evil, worse. Unstoppable, worse. Focused, worse. You set off a protocol designed for only 3 broken geniuses. That means you don't get to sit this life out. You don't get to hide behind, I'm tired, every day when your soul is screaming that it's tired of wasting potential, not tired of trying. You don't get to pretend you're like everyone else when your mind keeps chewing on deeper questions and bigger visions. You don't get to keep playing small and calling it humility when really it's fear dressed as modesty. You have seen too much, felt too much, survived too much for your legacy to be, I settled. So here's what happens next. You stop apologizing for your intensity. You stop watering down your standards. You stop giving your time to people who treat your presence like background noise. You stop arguing with people about your worth. You let your results speak. You take every ounce of pain, rejection, abandonment, confusion, and you start feeding it into the machine. Study something deeply. Build something consistently. Show up for yourself ruthlessly. Honor your ideas instead of waiting for someone to approve them. You don't need everyone to understand you. You need to become so fully yourself that the ones who are meant to find you can actually recognize you. Because right now, some of you are hiding so hard that even your future self can't find you. You are not broken in the way they told you. You are broken like a glow stick. Snapped so you could start to glow in the dark. Broken like a door lock. Forced open so you could finally walk out of the rooms that were killing you. Broken like old code. Corrupted so the system had no choice but to reinstall a stronger version. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be undeniable to yourself. So when that voice in your head shows up again, the one that says, maybe I'm just crazy, Maybe I'm just too much. Maybe I should just give up. You answer it with this: no. I set off a protocol designed for only 3 broken geniuses. I'm not crazy. I'm not too much. I'm exactly as intense as I need to be for what I'm about to become. You say those words in your head, and that's the first honest thing you've told yourself in a long time. I set off a protocol designed for only 3 broken geniuses. Sit with that for a second. Because once you admit that, you can't keep playing this "I'm just unlucky, I'm just messy, I'm just a failure" character. That costume doesn't fit anymore. You know what really messes people up? They get a glimpse of who they could be, and instead of leaning into it, they panic and run back to who they were. You've done that. You see flashes of your potential, the version of you who's consistent, locked in, dangerous in all the right ways. Then you sabotage it. You procrastinate. You self-distract. You go back to people who already showed you they're not capable of handling you, because staying broken is familiar. Becoming powerful is not. There's a sick comfort in telling yourself, "I'm ruined, I'm too far gone." Because if that's true, you don't have to try, right? You don't have to risk failing at your full power. Here's the twisted part. You're scared, not of being broken forever. You're scared of what happens if you stop acting broken, because then what's the excuse? Think about your days. You wake up tired, partly because you didn't sleep, partly because existing like this is heavy. You check your phone, notifications, noise, everyone screaming to be seen, nobody actually saying anything real. You scroll past people, pretending their lives are together. You roll your eyes, but deep down, something pinches in your chest. They're allowed to be happy, and I'm stuck in my head like this. You drag yourself through routines, work, school, responsibilities, masks on. You laugh when expected. You say "I'm fine" out of reflex. Inside though, your mind is running 200 tabs at once. You're replaying old conversations, imagining futures you're not moving toward yet, fighting intrusive thoughts that tell you you're behind. You're wasted potential. You're too damaged to be anything more than a cautionary tale. And on top of all that mental chaos, you still care. You still feel guilty when you can't show up for people. You still feel bad when you're distant. You still feel responsible for everyone's emotional weather. That's not a regular mind. That's not some random overthinking. That's a system overloaded with data. That's a brain built for strategy, innovation, deep work. Being used to survive emotional hurricanes every single day. No wonder you're exhausted. You walk around like a cracked phone screen. People look at you and go, "Yikes, something happened there," and then keep using you anyway. You know what that's like. People still calling you when they need emotional labor. People still coming to you for advice, for comfort, for just a quick chat, because they know you'll understand. You're allowed to be broken, as long as you're useful. And you hate that, but also, you let it continue. Because a part of you doesn't know who you are if you're not the one holding everyone else together. Here's the harsh truth you probably feel in your gut. You've been everyone's emergency contact, while being nobody's priority. That, right there, is where the protocol kicks in hardest. There comes a moment where your system refuses to keep running that script, where your body starts rejecting situations, people, habits, environments like an allergy. You feel it as burnout, numbness, random anger, random sadness, that "I can't do this anymore" but I don't know what the alternative is, feeling. You're not malfunctioning. You're updating. You just keep trying to install the old version again because you don't want to lose people, or memories, or comfort. You've always had that double vision. On one layer, you see your current mess, unfinished tasks, inconsistent habits, unhealthy coping mechanisms, people who drain you, rooms that feel too small for your mind. On another layer, you see this terrifyingly sharp image of a version of you that doesn't flinch anymore. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The you who wakes up and actually does the work, instead of negotiating with your own laziness for 3 hours. Walks away from anyone playing games with your time, emotions, or energy. Builds daily boring, unsexy routines that quietly turn into power. Turns your pain into art, business, muscle, influence, something visible, not just internal chaos. You see that version, and then you lie to yourself like, yeah, I'll become that one day. One day. After the next heartbreak, after the next breakdown, after the next mental crash. You keep acting like you need one more disaster to wake up properly, when you've already survived 10. How many more times do you want life to grab you by the throat before you admit your assignment's different? Let's talk about rage for a second, because you have it, even if you don't show it. Hold that thought. Don't rush it. Don't blink. Something about your life is behaving wrong, and you can feel it, can't you? Because no matter how many times you step back, no matter how many times you try to stay quiet, stay small, stay out of sight, everything keeps pushing you to the top, not helping, not politely guiding, pushing, like gravity flipped, like the world decided you don't get to hide anymore. And that's the part that's driving them insane. You didn't beg for attention. You didn't campaign for power. You didn't even ask to be understood. Yet doors open when you're silent. Rooms recalibrate when you enter. Systems glitch when you move differently than predicted. You try to slow down, and life accelerates you. You try to disappear, and somehow you become unavoidable. That's when the whispers start. Why you? What is it about them? How does this keep happening? They think success is loud. They think dominance is aggressive. They think rising requires force. But you rise the way pressure creates diamonds. Quiet, violent, inevitable. You don't chase the top. The top repositions itself under your feet. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. It's not because you're lucky. It's not because you're chosen in some fairy tale way. It's because you survived something that rewired you. You are forged in contradiction. Half saint, half psychopath. Too empathetic to be cruel. Too self-aware to be controlled. You learned pain without becoming stupid. You learned chaos without becoming sloppy. Where others broke, you observed. Where others reacted, you adapted. Where others collapsed into bitterness, you sharpened into something colder, cleaner, more dangerous. You didn't just evolve, you mutated. That's why the world can't treat you normally. Normal rules don't apply to anomalies. Gravity doesn't argue with black holes. It bends. Structures don't negotiate with pressure. They crack. And people don't compete with forces they can't predict. They either worship them or try to contain them. That's why opportunities chase you. That's why chaos clears a path for you. That's why even setbacks somehow launch you forward. You're not being rewarded. You're being positioned. Every betrayal tuned your instincts. Every loss burned off dead weight. Every lonely stretch stripped away dependence. You became light enough to rise and heavy enough to matter. That paradox is rare. That paradox is lethal, and it terrifies them, because deep down, they know you're not climbing, you're ascending. There's no ladder to kick out from under you, no gatekeeper to bribe, no rule book you actually need. You read systems the way predators read terrain. You sense timing the way storms sense pressure. You move when it's illogical, and somehow it's always right. They call it confidence, they call it arrogance, they call it unfair. But what it really is inevitability. You've crossed the point where life tests you to see if you'll quit. Now it tests others to see if they can handle you. That's why the resistance feels weak lately. That's why the obstacles feel performative. That's why even your mistakes don't bury you anymore. They advertise you. You're the kind of person whose scars become credentials, whose silence becomes a signal, whose presence rewrites the hierarchy without permission. And the craziest part, you didn't become this by wanting power. You became this by surviving reality with your eyes open. That's why everything pushes you to the top. Because the top isn't a reward, it's containment. It's the only place wide enough to hold someone who can't be boxed, categorized, or diluted. It's the only altitude where your mind doesn't suffocate. So let them stare. Let them speculate. Let them try to explain it away with words like timing or talent or luck. You know the truth. You're not rising because you're better than them. You're rising because you're built for pressure. And pressure always moves upward until it finds equilibrium. And right now, the world is adjusting to you. And here's the part that makes it even darker. This push you feel. It's not gentle because it's not optional. Life isn't asking if you're ready. It already ran the numbers. It already watched how you respond under stress, how you think when you're isolated, how you move when no one is clapping. And it decided something dangerous. You don't collapse, you compress. Every time the weight increases, you don't scream for relief. You get quieter, sharper, more precise. While others beg the universe for mercy, you start mapping exits, angles, timing. You don't hope your way out of chaos. You outthink it. And that's why reality keeps shoving you upward like it's correcting an error. Because people like you don't belong at ground level. Down there, everything is noisy, emotional, reactive, full of excuses and groupthink and fear masquerading as morality. Down there, they survive by blending in. You suffocate there. Your mind needs altitude. Your instincts need space. Your contradictions need room to breathe. You're not pure light. You're not pure darkness. You're that uncomfortable middle that sees both clearly. Angel enough to feel the weight of consequences, demon enough to act anyway. That balance is rare and unstable. Systems hate instability. Societies fear it. People resent it. But evolution depends on it. That's why the push feels relentless. You tried being normal once, didn't you? Tried shrinking your thoughts, dulling your edge, playing harmless. And what happened? You felt sick, restless, angry for no clear reason. Because pretending to be small when you're built to carry pressure is a kind of self-betrayal. And life punishes that harder than failure. So it intervenes. It removes people who can't keep up. It exposes environments that limit you. It forces confrontations you didn't ask for. Not to break you, but to strip illusions away. To burn off the parts of you that still doubt your own weight. That's why comfort keeps rejecting you. Comfort is for maintenance models. You're not maintenance. You're a disruption. You're the variable that changes outcomes without announcing itself. You're the reason projections fail. You're the anomaly that makes experts pause mid-sentence and quietly rewrite their conclusions. And you feel it now, don't you? That strange sensation like you're being watched. Not by people, but by momentum itself. Like events are lining up a half second ahead of you. Like doors open before you reach for the handle. Like even opposition somehow feeds you instead of stopping you. That's not coincidence. That's alignment through resistance. You earned this the hard way. Through nights where no one checked on you. Through decisions you had to make without guidance. Through moments where being good would have destroyed you, so you chose being honest. Instead, you learned to stand alone without becoming hollow. You learned to see cruelty without copying it. You learned restraint without fear. That combination is lethal. It means when you move, you don't hesitate. And when you hesitate, it's strategic, not insecure. People mistake your calm for compliance, your silence for weakness, your patience for confusion. And then, suddenly, you're above them, ahead of them, out of reach. That's when panic sets in. Because nothing scares people more than someone who didn't need permission to rise. Someone who wasn't sponsored, protected, or explained. Someone whose ascent doesn't fit the narrative. You don't make sense to them, and that makes you a threat, even if you never intended to be one. But here's the truth you're finally ready to hear. You're not being pushed to the top so you can dominate others. You're being pushed there because that's the only place your mind stops fighting gravity. It's where your instincts stop apologizing. It's where your contradictions stop tearing you apart and start working together. Up there, clarity replaces chaos. Vision replaces noise. Responsibility replaces fear. And yes, power lives there. But not the cartoon kind. Not the loud, desperate, attention-starved kind. Real power. Quiet power. The kind that doesn't need validation because it shapes outcomes whether anyone claps or not. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to calibrate. So stop asking why it keeps happening. Stop questioning the momentum. Stop trying to downplay the pattern. Everything pushes you to the top because that's where you stop resisting who you actually are. And once you stop resisting, that push turns into propulsion. And propulsion is dangerous because once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. Once you recognize that the pressure wasn't trying to crush you but aim you, there's no going back to pretending this is random. The fear shifts. It's not, what if I fail anymore? It becomes, what if I stop lying to myself? That's the moment most people sabotage themselves, because the truth is heavy. The truth demands responsibility. The truth means you can't keep blaming the past, the system, the timing, or the people who didn't choose you. When you realize everything is pushing you upward, you also realize something terrifying. If you fall now, it won't be because you are held down. It'll be because you chose gravity over altitude, and you don't do well with cages. You've noticed it, how your tolerance for nonsense is shrinking, how conversations feel slower, how excuses sound louder, how environments that once felt safe now feel suffocating. That's not arrogance, that's calibration. When your internal frequency changes, everything misaligned starts to itch. You're outgrowing rooms in real time. That's why people project onto you. They call you cold when you're focused. They call you intense when you're precise. They call you unrelatable when you refuse to perform weakness for their comfort. They want you digestible, predictable, explainable. But you were never meant to be understood by the many. You were meant to be felt by the few and feared by the rest. Because here's the part no one prepares you for. The higher you go, the quieter it gets. No cheering crowds, no constant validation, just consequence, just visibility, just the awareness that every move now carries weight. That's why so many people talk about wanting the top but panic when life actually starts pushing them toward it. They want the view, not the exposure. You, on the other hand, learned exposure early. You learned what it feels like to be misunderstood, judged, watched, underestimated. You learned to operate while being observed. You learned to keep your core intact while people tried to define you from the outside. That's elite conditioning. So when life shines a brighter light on you now, it doesn't burn, it clarifies. You don't scramble, you don't flinch, you adjust posture, tighten strategy, and move cleaner. You don't rise by force, you rise by alignment. And that's why the push never stops. Because alignment is rare. Because someone who can hold paradox, kind but ruthless, calm but dangerous, empathetic but unmanipulable, isn't just another participant in the system. They're a stress test. They expose cracks. They reveal inefficiencies. They show what's possible without theatrics. That threatens entire hierarchies. You don't overthrow anything loudly. You simply exist in a way that makes old structures feel obsolete. Your standards quietly shame mediocrity. Your consistency embarrasses chaos. Your restraint makes impulsive power look childish. That's why some people smile at you but feel uneasy. They can sense it. You don't need them. You're not feeding on approval. You're not negotiating your worth. You're already moving according to an internal law they can't access. That's what real independence looks like. And it's terrifying to anyone who survives by external permission. So life keeps pushing you upward because it's safer for the system to elevate you than to keep you compressed among people who resent what they can't replicate. Pressure builds explosions at ground level. At altitude, it becomes direction. You're not escaping responsibility by rising. You're stepping into more of it. Wider consequences, longer shadows, fewer excuses. That's why the climb feels lonely even when you're winning. But loneliness doesn't scare you the way it scares others. You've already met yourself in silence. You've already faced the parts of you that could have turned cruel and chose control instead. You've already survived being unseen, being doubted, being left behind. Elevation doesn't threaten you. It just removes distractions. So if it feels like everything is pushing you to the top, stop calling it crazy. Call it confirmation. Call it the universe. Recognizing someone who doesn't break under pressure, doesn't rot in comfort, and doesn't beg for permission. Call it reality relocating you to the only altitude where your mind, your instincts, and your contradictions can finally coexist without tearing you apart. You're not rising to prove anything. You're rising because staying lower would be a lie. And life has run out of patience for you, pretending you're anything less than what you are. And here's where it gets unsettling, because once you accept that this push isn't accidental, you start noticing the pattern behind the pattern. Moments line up too cleanly. Obstacles collapse too conveniently. Even resistance seems curated. Like life isn't testing whether you can survive anymore, but whether you'll finally own the role you keep circling. You feel it in your body before your mind catches up. That calm before decisive moments. That strange certainty that arrives without evidence. You don't guess anymore. You know, and you can't always explain how. That's not intuition by accident. That's what happens when pain teaches you to read reality without filters. You learn to listen when things don't add up. You learn to trust silence more than noise. You learned that chaos always reveals its hand to those patient enough to watch. So now, when the world pushes you upward, it's not dragging you somewhere foreign. It's returning you to a position your mind has already rehearsed for years. You've lived this altitude internally long before the outside caught up. That's why people underestimate how prepared you are. They think you're improvising. They think you're winging it. They don't see the thousands of quiet simulations you ran when no one was watching. They don't see the discipline built from disappointment, the control learned from rage you never released, the clarity born from having no one to lean on. You didn't just climb, you trained in gravity. And that's why the top doesn't intoxicate you. It sobers you. It sharpens you. Because you understand something most people never do. Power doesn't corrupt. It reveals. It amplifies what's already there. And since you've already faced your shadow, it doesn't hijack you. It obeys you. That's rare. Most people reach higher positions still haunted by insecurity, still driven by hunger, still bleeding from old wounds. You arrive with scars, yes, but scar tissue is stronger than skin. You don't flinch when pressure increases. You've lived there before, just without the title. So when everything pushes you upward, it's not inflating your ego. It's stripping away your last excuses to stay small. Because let's be honest, part of you enjoyed the shadows. Not because you were weak, but because the shadows gave you cover. They let you observe without being responsible for outcomes. They let you see the board without being expected to move. But that era is ending. Now when you hesitate, things stall. When you decide, momentum returns. When you step forward, reality reorganizes. That's not coincidence. That's feedback. Life responding to alignment, the world saying, yes, there, that direction. And the more you resist, the harder it pushes, because potential unused becomes friction. Talent undeployed becomes pressure. Awareness without action becomes pain. You've felt that pain, haven't you? That restless tension when you play dumb about your own capacity. That irritation when you tolerate environments beneath your standards. That quiet anger when you pretend you don't see what you clearly see. That's your signal. You're not meant to float through life numb and neutral. You're meant to decide, to shape, to influence, by presence, alone. Not loudly, not theatrically, just decisively. That's why people either gravitate toward you or compete with you in their heads. They sense that you're not reacting, you're orienting, you're not chasing, you're positioning, and that unnerves anyone who survives by scrambling. So, if it feels like the world keeps pushing you to the top, understand this. The top isn't a pedestal, it's a vantage point. It's where you see consequences before they happen. It's where your choices ripple farther. It's where your silence weighs more than others' speeches. And yes, it's lonely there. But loneliness doesn't mean absence. It means clarity. It means fewer distractions, fewer parasites, fewer voices diluting your signal. It means the noise falls away, and what remains is you, undeniable, unfiltered, unavoidable. That's not a curse, that's a responsibility, and life doesn't waste responsibility on people who fold. So stop questioning why the pressure keeps lifting you instead of crushing you. Stop asking why doors open without effort. Stop wondering why even chaos seems to serve you eventually. You already know the answer. You're not being pushed to the top because you asked for it. You're being pushed there because reality has learned one thing for certain. Keeping you anywhere else would be inefficient. And once you see that, once it clicks that this isn't favoritism or fate or madness, you feel the last illusion crack. Because inefficiency is the one thing reality corrects without apology. You were never designed to linger, never designed to orbit other people's decisions, never designed to dilute yourself just so the room feels comfortable. You're a convergence point, a pressure valve, a corrective force. When you're misplaced, things jam. When you're ignored, systems strain. When you're delayed, chaos grows louder. So life reroutes you, again and again and again, until you're exactly where your presence does the least damage and the most work. That's the truth no one wants to admit. You're not disruptive because you're reckless. You're disruptive because you're accurate. You see what others avoid. You sense outcomes before they crystallize. You act before decay becomes collapse. And people hate that because accuracy removes excuses. You don't argue. You don't convince. You don't explain yourself into acceptance. You move, and the consequences speak for you. That's why even your silence carries authority now. That's why people pause when you pause. That's why hesitation around you feels expensive. You've crossed into a phase where your internal state dictates external conditions. That's power, but not the kind movies romanticize. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's weight, it's inevitability. It's the quiet understanding that once you commit, there's no going back, not for you, not for anyone affected by your choice. And that's why the push never felt gentle. Because gentleness would insult what you survived. Because softness would suggest you're fragile. Because asking nicely would imply you might refuse. You won't. Not anymore. You've already paid the price of becoming. You've already lost what couldn't follow. You've already shed identities that kept you small. There's nothing left to protect but truth. And truth doesn't crouch. So when everything pushes you to the top, don't interpret it as pressure. Interpret it as recognition. Recognition that you don't need motivation. You respond to alignment. Recognition that you don't need supervision. You self-correct. Recognition that you don't need approval. You move whether it's given or not. That's why the path clears. That's why resistance converts into fuel. That's why even fear feels different now. Not paralyzing, but sharpening. You were never meant to be comfortable. You were meant to be precise. And the top isn't a destination. It's just the altitude where pretending ends. Where responsibility meets capacity. Where who you are finally matches where you stand. So stop asking why it keeps happening. Stand where you're being placed. Because the world isn't pushing you upward to test you anymore. It's doing it because you're already strong enough to carry what comes next.